not here. So a small note which I prepared, I will read. Basically, a little bit is based on the recently concluded study, State of Democracy in South Asia, WICSDS. We have completed that study with the 3 states, India, Pakistan and Bangladesh. The rest is going on. So I will just take one part of that. What people think about the economy, economic situation over there, basically perceptions of the people. But I will be very brief on that. The title which I have given is that the coexistence of mass poverty, illiteracy and mass democracy, an Indian paradoxical situation. We've seen that there's a lot of poverty, of all types of poverty, and there's basically mass democracy is there, starting from the village, the national level. So how these two things are going side by side? It's not only that our democracy has got strengthened. We have 14 successful elections. The next election is coming up. After 1.5 years, there's election. There's always election may lie in the country. We have Punjab elections, we have assembly elections, we have Jilla Parishad elections, we have the National Assembly elections, and so on and so forth. So not going much into this, simply read some part of that. Basically it's focused on South Asia, but I am only confined to some points to India. India is the site of what's called which has made a successful experiment in a democracy. One may agree, one may disagree, because it's like a half glass filled with water. You can see it is successful as in case of the poverty. Simultaneously, basically in this, the two of the most cherished goals in democracy was the humanity freedom to decide one's destiny and freedom from want. Two things. To decide about one's destiny, we let the people what we deserve, and the freedom from the want. Once seen as a contradiction, particularly in case of India, because we brought this new system in a very traditional society that's where caste was there, religion was there, division was there, poverty was there, mass poverty. I don't have the figures because I don't belong to the economics. I have not read economics. I have read economics, but only up to the senior secondary class, so I don't have that much of idea. But I read that there was a lot of problems faced by the country in the 60s. If you go by the Gunnar medals, the whole thing about the 60s, what type of problem we had, and problems we have even today, we have not resolved. But the hope of the people is very much there. Only hope is that people still think that it's the democratic process, the system is the only way through which we can get things done, or we can reach certain goals over there. Once seen as a contradiction in terms of which requires a country to choose either political freedom or economic equality, the challenge of pursuing the two goals in present is in the same measure in all parts of the world. But nowhere is the challenge as imposing as it is in case of India, particularly, and South Asia generally. Since the South Asian regions, basically the topic of this debate is that constitute the existence of mass poverty. You take any country of South Asia, already data has been given how much poverty is there, how much illiteracy is there, how much malnutrition is there. The first head of South Asian experiment can settle two of the most perplexing questions of present time. One is that a certain degree of material prosperity, is it a precondition to the growth of democracy? Or second is that can democracy be institutionalized in conditions of poverty and deprivation? When we take the Indian experience, we see the human development index. I'm not going into that. We are almost 1/4 or more than 1/4 people are no longer trained. Poverty we have already discussed in that we are. So there's not rosy picture particularly on any counts. Maybe social count, maybe political count, maybe economic count, and so on and so forth. Literacy, enrollment, function, everything. We see that everything there is a leakages, there is a blockade. Even the Prime Minister said that only 50 was talking about the delivery system. From where we have to bring the people. After all, those who are honest, you get those who are there to basically to take people into consideration. It's not there. We have the objective reality is that we have to select the people which we have. So in that way, there is a serious problem is there. To take any problem, you take any issue, take any what's called the agenda, to take any scheme of either of the state government or the central government. I think when the Punjab government implemented the old age pension, I think more than half Punjab basically became more than 60 years old. Same in case of when Aadhaar scheme, everybody knows that what happened to the Aadhaar scheme. Manjeet has rapid in that way also. The whole Atara scheme helped in the last elections. Basically, it came to the rescue of the party over there. Second was that Sidhu has talked about that. Okay, we have a huge, we have 6 to 7% growth since 1992 with the liberalization process began, but the poverty reduction was less than 1% and so on. So this was a contradiction in that way also. So all the evidence presents us with the paradox of the coexistence of mass poverty and mass democracy. The every party contesting election is expected to cater to the needs and demands of majority of the electorates is for clean, efficient and accountable government. We know that how much claims are being made. It seems that Sidhu has directly referred, but I am not directly referring, that some parties, some groups, they are talking like that once they come to power, the whole issue will be resolved within no time or a very short period of time. That type of impressions are being given to the people, and that makes also its impact to the political behavior of the people. And if the majority is as big as that of the poor, or relatively poor in the country, and where demand is the basic as public policy for poverty reduction, why is it that this demand is routinely frustrated and regimes in power do not feel compelled to perform? This is the issue. From where the pressure is to come? Pressure either can come from the above. ऊपर से आ सकता है if we are sincere in that way. That is almost missing. What is happening or what type of scams we have? The second is the pressure from the below, that is also missing. What type of movements do we have? What type of issues the movements have? They can take any organization over there. Take the peasants, where are the issues? Take the workers, where are the issues? Take even the elite class, that Sidhu will agree with me, basically, to which we belong. What type of issues we have? What type of pressure we are putting on the system? I think it's almost vacuum in that. The system is working almost in a vacuum. There is not that much of pressure. Maybe because of the tactics of the system, but we have seen that with the coming of the last grades to the university teachers, we don't have any issues of the teachers, particularly issues which concern the society. We have been confined to ourselves. We are busy with our own concerns in that way, so we are not finding any way from where from somewhere some issue will come, which is of the general concern. That what is missing. After all, democracy was always seen as a rule of the poor. This is what we see there. If we have a 60% poor or 40% poor or 70%, this I basically put in that way also. When Manmohan Singh contested the election from South Delhi possibly, so it was the poor who decided the fate of the Manmohan Singh because they did not vote for that. Somebody else took the vote of those poor by using this way or that way. So this is point which I put in that way also. It was believed that democracy would provide the poor with our powerful instrument to redress the poverty through control of the state power. This part is also very much missing. We have some experiments, ultimately those experiments would not last for a long period. Say for in case of Mayawati in the UP, or say for in case of some other, not many examples are also there, but ultimately serious questions came into being of the continuity of their power in that. Specifically, it was expected that the democratic political competition would allow the demand for public policy on poverty elimination to come to the center stage of public domain or the public life, and will compel the political parties to reflect it in their political agenda, which is not coming. That type of pressure is not there. Either A group is there or B group. Where is the poverty? Poverty issue. The concerns have been taken something else. Sometimes you talk about your relationship with the neighboring countries. You are talking about all other issues, nonsensical issues, and taking people away from the central point of the central issues of the common people, particularly of the poverty and the poverty alleviation program. Parties reflect in their political agendas. The party that was seen as presently a better policy on poverty reduction should stand a better chance of winning in the election. It is not there. Every time we talk about the agendas, only it was in case of the 1971 election when Indira Gandhi raised the issue, made the poverty as an issue, and ultimately she won that election with a massive mandate. What happened that you have the data that after that the poverty line has increased, number of the poor have increased, and everything has gone on the other side. On the other hand, an overwhelming majority feel that they are poor. Otherwise, you talk to anyone, they think in that way. This study particularly which we have done, particularly I am in charge of the state, I am state coordinator of the CSD group network, so I have done this study in Punjab. We have data about Punjab, we have data of all India level, and we are likely to have data of all the South Asian countries very soon. The study though, I am talking about at the national level. The study though, preliminary stage shows There's a mismatch between objective economic conditions and subjective perceptions. The mismatch is of the three types. The first one is that the proportion of the people who thought their income did not cover their needs was more than the official figure of the people which we are discussing. What type of number of the poor people and so on and so forth. The second is that the proportions in different there's a difference in the different states in India which do not basically this mismatch between and among the other states over there. The third one is that so when we look at the poverty, we are not to see at the national level. We have to see at what's called the local level. There is a different level. See, we've already discussed both the urban poverty and the rural poverty. And within the urban, there is a suburban over there. Within the suburban, there is another category. Say, for example, if you take the rural poverty, particularly in Punjab, we can divide into two parts. We have acute poverty in the border areas, which is almost the 14% of the total Punjab over there. Nobody bothers about that. They are totally deprived. It seems once you go to those areas, you see that you are living in a different country. You are going to a different country. They don't have access. Minimum bare access is not there. So they are also part into that. Whatever is there, when we do the survey, we don't go to those areas. We don't go to those people. So ultimately they got excluded, and ultimately the figures which come out, I think, do not match with the reality over there. I'm just coming 2-3 minutes. But surprising, this is the last what I would like to say there. A level of hope and optimism marks the people faith for democracy. I have three questions I will read here. The first question was that as for your own family, how do you rate the economic situation of your family today? Just given the figure, though I don't believe much in the figures. 6.5% say very good. Good, 33.6. Almost 40% say that their economic position is good. And the largest number is of the so-so, not good, not bad. That was 36.4%. Bad only talk about 5.9% of the total respondent at the national level. Very bad only 5.8%. This was the first question. The second question is more interesting. How would you compare the current economic condition of your family with that it was a few years ago? Is it better now, about the same, or the worse? Much better now, 11.3%. A little better now, 41.1%. So this is a political question which is directly related with their political choice, A party. When we talk about the last 4-5 years, UPA was there. UPA was kept in demand. About the same, 29.6%. And a little worse is only 10.2%. Much worse is only 4.8%. So you can easily draw the conclusion as you think in that way. And the last question is related with their hope. The hope is
Little versus?
yeah, a little worse is only 10.2%. I think it will help you to come to discuss all these things. The third question is more important. What do you think the economic situation of your family will be a few years from now? Will it be better, about the same, or the worse? This was the question. Much better, 18.2%. Hope, see the hope over here. A little better, 38%, 1%. More than 50% are hopeful that their economic position will improve. A little worse is only 4.1%. Much worse is only 2.9%. So this is what keeps our democracy going on. And the last thing, did issue of poverty matter in the election? This is one part which we had. It mattered a lot when the issue of the poverty comes in. 71, it was there. 2004, India shining, but it was shining not for India, for India, not for Bharat. So that issue is very much there. It was shining for a few, not for the others. Aam Aadmi ka haar basically mattered a lot. Manrega came into being, but Lord Sidhu has also said about that. Manrega has brought about Aata Dal scheme in case of Punjab. And now I think it is becoming a political question, but we talk about the food security bill or whatever the bill it is there. And it's not only the economic in that way, it is the political in that way. So once it becomes a reality. That's why the government of India did hurry to implement it. That they brought the opposition to that podium. That you come forward, whether you are opposing it or you are supporting it, and ultimately it will this way or that way going to help make an issue in the elections to come. So with these lines, thank you very much.
You gave very encouraging figures. maximum percentage of